So the new themes for the modern sites have support for modern document libraries, modern communication sites, and modern team sites. And by providing this, we now can have consistent look and feel across modern and classic SharePoint websites. And this is great to keep the same branding consistency across all sites. But to show you better how this works, I will jump into the website and I will show you a demo. So this is a classic theme site with some of our web parts applied to it and with one of our themes applied to it too. And this is how it looks like. Until a couple of weeks ago, every time we went to the site contents or to a document library, we lost completely the branding that was associated to the website. And now, if you look to the website, I'm on site contents. This is a modern library inside of SharePoint. And as you can see, my branding, my theme, it's propagated through all the websites. It's a complete different theme. You will now need to install two different themes on your environment, one for classic, one for modern, with the exception of modern sites that will not have the classic theme. And this is how you will then have access and how you will see your modern sites and modern layouts. With the theme, we also provide a color file that will take advantage of the change the look option. So we will also use the themes functionality of SharePoint. We never used it in the past, but now we will take full advantage of it and we will brand your websites with our themes and with SharePoint themes altogether. So you will get the color file for the classic environment, and you will get also in the feature version a PowerShell that will include a modern theme for the modern SharePoint. And if I go over here to the change the look, you will see that I have a lot of company themes already deployed in my system. These are all the base themes that we will release soon for the modern SharePoint with all the base colors. And as you can see, we have all the colors, and this combined with the theme itself that will create the extensions at the top and at the bottom, you will be able to have all the theme colors applied to all the theme elements. But going back to the home page, as you can see, it will load again the classic site. And just to show you how similar it looks on modern websites, I will open this website that is a modern communication site with the same web parts and with the same content applied to it, same theme, same customization. And as you can see, the branding is propagated through the communication site. So you can easily have the same look and feel now on modern and classic environment. If you notice at the bottom, we have the footer, and on classic, the scroll works for the entire content in the page. On modern sites, things are a bit different, but we still have the footer with all the content inside of it. So if I click over here, it expands and it displays exactly the same content that I have on the footer on the classic websites. So you will not lose any of the functionalities provided by the themes and provided by the classic themes. To edit and to modify the theme, you will need to edit your page. And once you do it, you will see that few areas will appear on your page. I have a few ones at the bottom that allow me to add links directly to this area. If I expand this one, you will see all the zones that exist in this specific footer will be highlighted, and I will be able to edit them and preview whatever I type here. And if I save it, it will then be saved into a SharePoint list, and it will be propagated then to your SharePoint site, exactly like we do with the CSS-only themes on classic websites. So I will discard this and close this. Up here, once you go into the edit mode, you will see the BindTuning settings. This will bring up the settings for the theme. The options available in this panel might grow in the future, but for now, you can apply compact styling to the theme that will reduce the height of your header and the height of your footer. You can hide page title, you can hide the entire footer, you can apply the theme to the headings and they will inherit the font from your theme, and you can hide the annoying feedback button that exists all modern pages. I will save the page and all the content will load again. To deploy the theme on modern sites, you will need to use the file and the PowerShell script that is provided by us, and that's where I will show you now. So first, you will need to download the zip file, and inside of it now you will find two other zip files, one with the classic version and the one with the modern version. And inside of this SPFx one, you will have the SP color file that will apply the colors to your classic SharePoint according to the customization that you've made on the BindTuning customization tool. You will have the theme file itself. This needs to be installed on the app catalog, and you can do it globally on the global app catalog or locally on the site collection app catalog if you have that functionality enabled on your site collection. So I will extract this to my desktop and I will execute the installer PowerShell file. This was not right. So this will bring up a menu, and there are a couple options over here. So you can install the theme globally and apply it directly to a site collection. You can install it globally with a full color experience, which means that we will install the color file and you will have a new SharePoint theme installed on your system, available to use on your site collection. You can apply just the theme to a specific site collection if you already have it installed, and you can apply the theme with the full color experience without reinstalling. And there's also options to deactivate the theme from the site collection and to uninstall the theme globally from your system. To get this PowerShell running on your computer, you will have to have PowerShell PNP installed in your computer because we are using PNP to build and to install everything inside of BindTuning nowadays. So I will not install it because it's already installed, and I will move on to the next line of products that I have to show you. If you have questions about themes, we will have a Q&A at the end of the presentation. So next, we have the web parts, and since the beginning of the year, we've been releasing the web parts gradually, the ones that we have available for classic sites. And now, finally, we have the entire set available for modern sites, and we released a new web part. So all the previous ones are now available, and we have an RSS reader available for modern and classic websites. Starting with the RSS reader, and I will jump back into the websites. Starting with the RSS reader, in terms of layout, it's pretty similar to what we have news. The layouts are exactly the same ones that we have on the news web part, so you will be able to combine your news web part with your local news inside of SharePoint with your favorite RSS feeds from outside of SharePoint in the same page, and both will have the same look and feel. But this is basically how it looks, where we have the intro zone with one of the layouts applied to it, and it's very easy to set up, and the only thing that you have to do is add the feeds. You will be able to map the feed elements directly into the layout, and the results returned by the feed will be different from feed to feed. So if you over one of the examples, it will then pop up and it will display an example of what is being provided by this property. And by doing this, you will be able to build this um, web art with your own customization in terms of what appears in your layouts. You can combine it with multiple feeds, and you can apply colors, and you can apply default images to your feeds. Then if I click in one of these feeds, it then opens the feed itself on a new tab, and I'm able now to interact with the external area of SharePoint. This was a web part that we built almost 2 years ago for the SharePoint showcase. We had a lot of requests, make it available on our gallery of web parts, and now it's fully available and available for classic and for modern SharePoint sites. You should have it already on your BindTuning account. All right, so moving on to the other web parts. If you already installed the SPFx web parts, probably you noticed that on classic websites, you have two different groups of web parts. You have the classic web parts, which we really recommend you to use on classic websites, and you have the modern web parts that still can be used on classic sites, but we are planning to deprecate that functionality. So if you go to the page and click on the Add Web Part, once you are in Edit mode, you will see two different groups. The BindTuning add-ins are all the classic web parts that were developed for the classic SharePoint with all the rich forms that we implemented over the years. And then we have the BindTuning SPFx. And these ones are the modern web parts that we have available for the modern SharePoint. In the current version, you will see both in here, but in the future, we might deprecate the modern web parts on classic pages. And that has to do with the loss of features once you use the modern web parts on classic pages. So if you go over here and if you click on settings on web part properties on a classic page, this will bring up our custom form that we've built to add and to modify the settings of the web part. If you add instead a modern web part to a classic page, you will lose this interface and you will return back to the classic interface of SharePoint web parts, which does not provide a very good interface to modify and to edit web parts. On modern sites, however, we have the default property pane that allows you to easily change properties, and the web part will react immediately to all your changes, and you will be able to preview immediately how things will look like once you save the page with this properties saved. This is the main reason why we are planning to deprecate the modern web parts on classic pages, and we would like to have your feedback before we do this move, because we really want to know if you want to have classic and modern installed on the same site collection, or if you rather prefer to have just the modern ones and lose the functionality of the forms that we've implemented for the classic web parts. For the modern web parts, we are now in the process of applying and make the web parts compatible with the SharePoint themes. This is something that it's not related with the theme that we have applied. So even on SharePoint sites where you are not using a BindTuning theme, you will be able to format your web parts according with the color that you select your SharePoint theme. So if I go here on this modern site to change the look, And if I pick one of the available themes, you will see that quick links, calendar, already inherit the color of my theme. And if I go further and apply one of the dark themes, you will easily understand how things behave when this is applied to the website. This is something that is not yet available. It's something that we are doing internally, but you will have this soon available on your web parts, and all of them will inherit the colors of the theme that you have applied on your modern pages. We will also release soon full width web parts for your SharePoint. So in this page, what I have is, instead of using the hero image that is available by default on the modern communication sites, I have instead a full width area, and we will provide some of our web parts available for the full width area. This, again, is not yet available, but we have plans to provide the tiles and slider. If you want to see other web parts available in this area, please let us know. And just to show you how different this looks like, when I have here, I will add here another full width area. And as you can see, I only have 4 options. I have image, I have hero, I have banner. Those are the default ones. And now I have also BindTuning slider. That's what I have over here. And we will also add tiles. So if you want to see alerts or other type of web parts that we have on our gallery of web parts, let us know, and we will see if possible, without doing a lot of changes to the web part, to make them available and to provide a good experience with a full width layout. Okay, so just to finish, everything continues to behave exactly like it did with the classic site. So everything is still fully responsive. On the web parts, we still have Bootstrap, and everything is built exactly like we did with the classic one. So you will not notice a lot of differences between classic and modern web parts. On the theme side, we dropped Bootstrap. Our themes for modern sites no longer use Bootstrap, and we are using just Fabric UI, and we did this to improve performance. Since this was already available in the page and it's already responsive, we are using this instead of Bootstrap. This is, again, just for the themes. All right, so before we finish the session, if you have any questions about what is seen, please use the chat window, and I'll be glad to answer to all of your questions. Okay, so first question is, do I need to install first and then run again and apply? So on the PowerShell script, we have, let me see if it will open over here. It's not. We have all these options, but you don't have to install it first and apply it later. So we have the first and second options. We'll install and we'll apply the theme at once. The third and fourth option will only apply the theme, and this is for scenarios where you previously installed the theme. So if you create a new communication site and you already have the theme installed, you just need to apply the theme to the new communication site. You don't have to reinstall it on your app catalog. All right. Second question, how do the modern themes look with the hub site navigation? They look just as a native hub site with the hub navigation being available with the theme. I have here one example that I can share with you. And this is the template that was released by Microsoft last week during SharePoint conference. And over here, what I have is the upside. This one only have the portal, so there's not a lot of things on the up navigation, but this is basically how it looks. We have the site navigation over here, and then down here, this is the up navigation that will inherit the fonts of the theme if you have the theme applied. Okay, next question. Will there be an Inspire theme with the left menu available for SPFx? So Inspire is the only theme that we are not migrating right away because of the vertical menu. So we are relying on the areas that Microsoft provide by default. We are not doing any DOM injection directly in the content zones. And to provide a theme with a vertical menu like Inspire has, we need to go and inject HTML directly into the main content zone, and that's something that Microsoft does not recommend. However, we know that Microsoft will provide new content areas where we can add content, and the vertical menu might be one of those areas. So if Microsoft releases the vertical menu, then we will be able to release the Inspire theme with all the functionalities that we have associated to it, like the icons and the custom bar that we have on that specific theme. Next question is it possible to run the install script with arguments, for example, if creating theme sites with scripts? You can modify the script. So if you add it and modify the script, you can easily understand what it's written there. Nothing fancy, nothing special. It's just a bunch of commandlets from PNP. And what we tried to provide was an interface to make it easier for non-technical users to install instead of running all the commandlets to make it available. Okay, next question. Can anything be done for with the modern pages? I'm not sure if I understood the latest question from Alden. Can you please clarify? Not sure if you are talking about the width of the pages and the box layout that currently exists on modern pages. And we are talking about having this white space on each side of the page. This is something that we currently can't do or should not do anything about because Microsoft is finally finishing the app pages where we will have full access to the canvas, so we will be able to build full width pages. We can inject CSS and we can change the structure of the page with scripts, but again, we don't want to do it because we don't want to break the page if Microsoft change something in the future. So for now, the theme will apply to the existing sites and pages. You will have always the box layout on communication sites. But once Microsoft releases the full width sites with full access to the canvas, we will also update our themes to support them. Okay, next question. Do you think style class remove card will ever work in SPFx? Um, that's a good question. We don't have the cards effects available right now for the SPFX because we can't simply provide those inside of the script editor like we used to do the classic SharePoint. For now, it's something that will not be fully supported, but we might have options to the themes where these apply, where you can remove cards in specific pages. Okay, guys, any other question? Okay, if there are no questions, Francisco will then close the session. Thank you all